When I get stupid to the point that I'm mentally mad, I like to watch Barry's beats when he's up in the lab. His style is quite vibrant. We keep driving to educate the masses on this beat science. They hate when producers don't come equipped. So Barry will show you how to do it legit. Craig G, Barry's beats form the ultimate alliance. So please show these people out here your beat science. Science.
Hey, how you doing? This is Barry Beats, and I'm back for another Barry's School of Beats. I know it's been a little while since I've put a video out, but the eagle-eyed amongst you might have noticed a bit of a change in the studio. That's right, I've upgraded my studio over the summer, and what have we got? We've got a new 88 key controller keyboard, which is fantastic, means I can audition more samples all at the same time live. I've got two monitors now, so dual monitors. Got new studio monitors, JBLs. Got them at the car boot sale, a real steal. They're sort of £700-800 monitors. Managed to snag them for 120 quid with a bit of Barry bartering. What else have we got? Well, new chair, always important. Never underestimate the importance of having a comfortable seat in your studio. But the main thing I've upgraded is I've moved over to a new door. I've got a new hard drive, and I've got a dual boot situation with the Mac Pro, which means I can either boot up my Mac Pro on the old hard drive and have the Pro Tools set up, or my new hard drive, which is running the latest operating system, Sierra, and Ableton. That's right, I've entered the world of Ableton. So many of my friends are on it, and they all said, Barry, you need to get on Ableton. You'll love it. And to be fair, it's taken me a while, but I'm really getting into it. I've developed a fantastic workflow, and yeah, because it's on a new operating system, I can get all the latest libraries. I also picked up Complete 11, which has got some great stuff on it. So lots of plans for new videos and lots of new content. I'm going to be putting more tracks up, maybe working on some sample libraries. In fact, I'm hoping to do some live streaming at some point, so I've got to get that set up, and then I'll be doing live beats so you can all see me in the lab in real time. And if you want to be kept abreast of all that good stuff, I suggest subscribing or checking me out on all the other social media outlets. The links are all below, but yeah, if you subscribe, like, comment, share all the stuff, then that would be fantastic. Write me a letter if you want. You know, I'm not adverse to receiving a letter through the post even. Okay, so what are we looking at in this episode? Well, it's rather a complex beat, to say the least, so I'm splitting it over a few episodes, this one, because I want to go into enough detail to explain exactly how I made this track. So by all means, check the beat out now, or you can just follow me on this voyage as we go through all the different elements that were involved in building this track. Okay, now the first element we're going to explore in this episode is it's the element I usually start most tracks with. That's the drums. Okay, so the drums I used in this track are from this album. It's by John Baldry. The album is called Everything Stops for Tea. Should we take a listen? Okay, the track is called Hambone.
Well, I'm gonna north, get my ham bone boiled. Well, I'm gonna...
Okay, I'm sure you'll agree, some pretty tasty drums there. Very funky, lots of nice little paradiddles. So stuck them in Pro Tools, cleaned them up, because as you can hear, the only thing, they were a bit crusty. So put the Oxford denoising plug-in over it and got them sounding better. Then used Elastic Audio to get them exactly on the grid, so they're perfectly in time. Here's the strange thing. Normally I would then put the drums into Contact and program them, but in the case of this track, I kept them in Pro Tools, in the Pro Tools environment as audio. So we've got the drums in here. I also chopped them a little bit to get different patterns going. Let's have a listen. What have we got here? I'll solo them for you. Okay, got them sounding pretty good. Next step, groove extraction. Now, I'm a big fan of groove extraction, although I've got to say, it's not 100%. You've still then got to use your ear and move things a little bit by ear. But basically, it gets sort of, I don't know, 85, 90% of it bang on. You've then just got to make a few little fine adjustments. So what groove extraction basically does is it takes the peaks, the transients, and it basically applies a custom quantizing template to it. So anything you play over the top, you can quantize it exactly to the pattern of the drums, which is fantastic for layering drums. And that's the next stage. We're going to be looking at layering these drums and getting them sounding really fat. Okay, so the first drum layer I used on this beat were these drums here. They're quite crisp, punchy drums. They've got a lovely kick. I'm going to solo them for you so you can hear them. So basically I just reprogrammed those drums over the existing ham bone drum break using MIDI groove extraction, and when they are combined together you can hear the effect. Okay, so that was the first layer. Next up I put an extra kick in and an extra snare. The kick comes from my kick library, which is basically a whole keyboard's worth of kicks, and I can just scroll up and audition each kick separately until I find one that fits perfectly with the drums. So we got this kick here going. Let's have a listen. I'll solo it for you. I'll also put this snare in. It's a fantastic sounding snare. It's kind of got like a tambourine over the top of it. Kind of reminds me of the sort of Pete Rock early noughties sounding snare. Let's have a listen to that with the kick. Finally, the final layers on these drums were, I'm going to solo them, and then we'll see if the keen break spotters out there can recognize them. Let's have a listen. They've been used rather a lot of times. That's right, the classic Lou Donaldson Ode to Billy Joe drums. Now these drums haven't got a lot of bottom end in them, but they have got a really nice sort of top end, jazzy kind of blue notey, airy sound, which again for layering is fantastic, and they provide that sort of top end airy character to these drums. I'm going to put them all together now so you can listen to all the drum layers together. Okay, if I take the actual original drums out, you can hear even the program drums sound pretty live because of the groove extraction. Bring the originals back in. So there you go, the drums all layered up and ready for some music, and that's what we're going to be looking at in episode 2. So go make a cup of coffee, tea, whatever your preference is, and join me back in a few minutes for episode 2 of this Barry's School of Beats. Cheers!
Educate the masses on this beat science.
Barry's School of Beats.
Watch Barry's Beats when he's up in the lab.
Give a little like and a thumbs up.
Barry's Beats will have your arms swinging.
And if you could just press the old subscribe button.
See you See you on the next episode of Barry Science.